Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to this week's video. Before we start, I would like to thank the inspiration and the sponsor of today's video. And I know what you're thinking. I have like 2 subscribers. How did I get a sponsor? Well, the answer is, I did it. But back to business. The sponsor of today's video is winter. Personally, I don't like winter so much. But they're the only season that would give me money. Living in Canada, winter gets cold. Now to the American Giraffe for the weather.
Thanks, American. I'm here in my front yard. It's the middle of winter, the sun is gone, and it is this cold out. And you might be wondering, how is this psychopath wearing shorts? Well, the answer is, I'm Canadian. There's literal ice in my veins. Nobody can stop me. Up here in the north, we can do this thing where if you're out in the cold long enough, you just can't feel it anymore. It's just gone. No, it's not called hypothermia. Oh, stupid. No. Anyway, my hands are starting to turn black, so back to you, American.
Thanks for that somewhat horrifying weather update. And now that we're done with that interesting bit, let's get on to the video.
American Giraffe.
You know what? I'm just not gonna say anything. A couple days ago, I was sitting on my couch, all bundled up, listening to the sound of my dad snowblowing in the freezing cold. As I sat, I remembered a very interesting memory from my early childhood. It was back in the glory days of grade 4. It was an extremely cold winter day. Now usually, if it gets colder than negative 20 degrees out, that cold in Fahrenheit, we would stay inside for recess and play Just Dance and enjoy our life. Well, today was different. The principal, who would usually go on the loudspeaker and say something like, "Yeah, it's kinda cold out today, stay inside," was sick or something. So today, the vice principal was filling in for him. And this buffoon thought it was okay for a bunch of 10-year-olds to go outside in blood-freezing weather.
Editor's note, the vice principal is actually a really chill guy, and I have total respect for him.
But he really said on the morning announcements, "Weather's a bit crisp today, so make sure to dress warm." So recess came, we marched outside, preparing for the physical toll that it would bring upon our little bodies. Me and my homeboy Caleb sprinted out to the snow-covered soccer field, where we hid in a snow fort that we had built the weekend before. Before we continue, let me just say, this fort was actually sick. We worked so hard on it. It had a roof, the walls came over and just made a roof like an igloo. It had a flag. So there we were, huddled up like some sickly little penguins when we noticed a sound. Or should I say, a lack of any. There were none of the usual recess noises, kids talking, whistles blowing, balls bouncing. Confused, we peeked outside and no one was there. Just an empty, snowy wasteland of a field. Now I began to panic, because my first thought was that everybody had already gone inside and left us out to die. Then I noticed quite a peculiar sight. And before I get onto this part, I would just like to clarify a couple facts about this recess. Our school goes all the way from kindergarten all the way up to grade 9. There's about 4 classes per 9 grades, which makes about 40 classes. There's about 20 kids per class, times 40 classes makes about 800 kids. All these kids go for recess at the same time. Anyway, as I gazed off into the distance, I began to make out a stampede of school kids charging towards the front of the school. All 800 kids sprinting, shoving, trampling their way to the front doors of our school. Me and Caleb, knowing exactly what the flip was going on, joined the herd, running as fast as our bony little legs could carry us. So by the time we reached the school, there was a huge mass of 800 kids, give or take, surrounding the front entrance. The teachers had set up a 50-foot perimeter around the doors so no one could get inside. Every time a kid tried to go within the perimeter, they would be forced back outside by a teacher. Soon we started to take a different approach. An 8th grader began to yell, "Let us in! Let 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 us in!" Soon the entire crowd was roaring with these words. The teachers tried their best to quiet the crowd, but when it's 40 versus 800, their futile attempts did nothing. At this point, there were even some kids willing to sacrifice for their friends. 1 or 2 people would hold back a teacher, while 5 or so kids dashed for the doors, actually making it inside. Now keep in mind, me and my homeboy Caleb are near the back of the crowd, so we basically had no chance of breaching the defenses. So now the chant's still going strong, and some people are making it inside. The energy within the riot was stronger than ever. As the riot continued, the worst possible thing happened. The vice principal walked out of the school, and Buddy was not happy. Everybody got real quiet after that. Just as he was about to give this angry speech to the whole crowd, something amazing happens. A teacher's assistant, along with her group of teacher's pets, began walking. but not in the direction of the front doors. They were walking towards a door on the side of the school that was mainly used for the kindergarten classes. The reason nobody had gone there in the first place is because it's always locked, but the teacher's assistant had a key. Realizing what was about to happen, the huge wave of kids started surging towards the side of the building. The TA opened the door, and kids started flooding the school, desperate for warmth. People were getting shoved all over the place. There were some dudes throwing hands, getting all violent. Little kids were getting trampled on. It was like a flippin' Travis Scott concert. I ended up getting separated from Caleb, and at this point I was just trying not to get crushed. We all eventually got inside, and since the whole school was basically involved with this riot, it was pretty hard to get any kids in trouble. This part is what, in my opinion, is the funniest part of the whole story. No one got in trouble. Me and my friends searched far and wide for any information about anybody getting in trouble, but we could never find any. The teacher's assistant was celebrated as a hero, and she left the school at the end of the year. Some say she was fired, but I doubt that. At the time of this event, I might have been scared, cold, and almost gotten crushed. But this was actually an awesome experience. I really think it was the excitement of something like this that makes it one of my favorite elementary school memories. So basically, the moral of the story is don't make a large group of kids go out in the freezing cold.
Violence will follow.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell. Goodbye.